Hello, everybody. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So everything pretty much is compromised. So as we discover new things about these compromised, stuff that's out there, like the space program, compromised, yes. Been talking about that for years. Is there some truth in it? Yes. Is there some truth in politics? President Trump, yes, right. But does he, seed disinformation to a certain extent on purpose? Yes, of course. So don't get caught up in being right. It's just like it's not going to serve anybody. Sometimes I get caught up in that myself, so I'm, just as guilty as everybody else. But I think it's very important going forward that we learn to just learn that there's lots of compromised stuff out there, that we're going to discover it. Don't get stuck on anything, on either side of anything, right? Because that's what they want. They've always wanted this, and they've always tried to stoke us into arguing and believing in one thing and, defending that thing, like we saw with COVID. You just have to get to the point where you're just, nothing matters, right? Nothing really matters except for love, right? Love matters, and love is the state of consciousness that we all need to be in. So just be open-minded to all the stuff that's going out there. The compromised stuff is going to continue to expose itself. That's to be expected. Don't get stuck on something and start to get angry with other people that think differently from you. So, and like I said, sometimes I get stuck on that as well. So we're all human, and we're gonna sometimes get stuck on stupid, right? Everybody does at some point, sometime. Just move forward, right? Don't get stuck. Don't get stuck. Don't get stuck on stupid. Right. So, all right. So let's look at what's going on in the world. U.S. enforces blockade on Iranian ports. Now, this again is where I'm seeing people getting, former influencers. I say former because I think they're stuck on stupid. They're not seeing a bigger picture, and they're arguing to be right. So just presenting the information, I think, is important this time. Whatever information you have, and then I'm seeing a lot of people out there that are, this is the way it is, and everything else is wrong, right? No, right? So I see a lot of people that are not seeing a bigger picture on the Straits of Hormuz. This is to take down the money system, right? If you think it's something else, that's fine. If you see other aspects of it, that's fine. But if you attack, I think President Trump at this point, you're on the wrong side of this, and history will show that. So don't get stuck. Don't get stuck on stuff. And I don't know everything. I've been saying that it was going to be a ground war. Is it going to happen? From my experience, from what I'm seeing, it's going to happen, but maybe it won't. So that would be great if it doesn't. So just stay flexible, stay open-minded to all the different things that are happening. I know a lot of people, almost most people, they want the thing. They want the thing so that their mind can just be quiet and quit looking, because they don't like that. They want the thing, right? Most people want the thing, and if they don't get the thing, then they get angry, right? And they want to attack everybody that's not giving them the thing, all right? So you're not going to get the thing, but I can tell you the thing is that President Trump is taking down the economic system, right? And I think that's one of the things that we're going to see going forward. And then we're coming after the political types. And the political types are, I think it's already starting. We're going to talk about that. Swalwell and Gonzalez just resigned. Why did they resign? Because Congress is pushing through a bill that would cut off retirement to those people that are kicked out of Congress. How about that? So both these guys just resigned, which was, I think, is unprecedented. I've never seen anything like that in history of the political sphere. Sure, there's been some people that have resigned. I can't think of them. They're probably back there in time somewhere. All the evidence started to pile up on them. Swalwell was going to be governor of California, and he resigned from running for governor of California because all the accusations started coming to him. And then we saw the accusations starting to come at Gonzalez, congressman from Texas, and Republican. So it's not just Democrats, guys. It's both parties. Both parties are very corrupt. And I think we're seeing the start of the takedown of the political system. It's just fantastic. All right, so let's look at this. Trump yanks troops from Spain. All right, so I've been saying for years that we're going to leave NATO. So now we're moving that position. Now, of course, people would have been arguing that's no way that we're ever going to leave NATO. I think that at this point, you have to start to realize that this is going to happen.
As far as the naval blockade is concerned, what's the end game? Is it to force Iran back to the negotiating table? Is it to open up the Straits so that gas prices ultimately come down?
Maybe everything. I mean, both of those things, certainly, and more. We can't let a country blackmail or extort.
So is it Iran that is blackmailing and extorting the world? No, it's the city of London, right? The city of London basically took over almost 100 years ago, Iran, right? So this is something in China, and China is going to be a problem. So China, Iran, Europe, they're all problems. They all have to be taken down. Instead of going right at the city of London, we just take away the money, right? Just take away the money and they collapse. This is what we're going to see.
The world, because that's what they're doing. They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen. And the amazing thing is, can you believe this? We don't use this trade. We don't need this trade. We have our own oil, gas, much more than we need.
All right. So not only do we have pretty much all the oil that we need, right? But we're also exporting on a massive scale now. We're the world's exporter of oil now, and we have light sweet crude, right? Light sweet crude is the most easily refined crude there is. There's different categories. WTI, West Texas Intermediate crude is light sweet crude, and it's very desirable, right? I don't know how many countries have that. I don't think Venezuela is light sweet crude, but they have a lot of crude. I don't know that the Middle East oil is all light sweet crude, but it is highly desirable. And I'll come back to this, but let's look at this other chart of all of the ships that are coming in right now to get American oil, right? So right here, empty oil tankers headed to the U.S., right? So on a massive scale, we have tankers coming to the U.S. 68 of them can carry 2 million barrels each. So at least 121 empty oil tankers are making their way to the United States of America right now. Holy smokes, we are the world's gas station now, all right? China can send their ships to the U.S. China can send their ships to Venezuela. Empty oil carrying ships from many nations are all headed to the U.S. to load up. Harris Faulkner, 68 of those, 28 at 2 million barrels apiece. President Trump has urged countries squeezed by Iran's disruption of the Strait of Hormuz to turn to America energy supplies instead. So we are the new Middle East oil provider, guys. Pretty cool, right? So maybe there was a method to the madness. I believe so. So again, we don't know the big picture here. There's still a lot of people out there that are criticizing President Trump throughout the social media. You know, what used to be big time influencers are basically falling apart and going to the wayside now, right? And all those people that are attacking President Trump will be shown to be on the wrong side of this. Now, can they go back to the other side? I don't know. I'm not going to follow most of them at this point. You know, the Tucker Carlsons, Alex Jones, they're done. I'm done with them, right? So will they still have followers? Sure, right? Will they still, you know, and other people, Candace Owens and all these others, will they still have followers? Sure, you know. Not moi though, not moi, right? No more, no mas. So it's moving on. Many of us are moving on to bigger and better, and one of those things is bigger and better is to get out of NATO, right? And we're going to talk about that.
Have more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia. Think of this: we produce more Saudi Arabia, and add Russia to it, substantially more. And by next year, we'll have double that amount. So we don't need it, but the world needs it.
Wow, that's incredible, right? So right now we have what Russia and Saudi Arabia puts out. Russia's number 2, Saudi Arabia's number 3, and we put out more than both of them combined. And President Trump just said next year we're going to double that again. Wow. So yeah, we're the new exporter of oil for the world, and the price of oil came down bigly today. And what did the stock market do? It went up bigly. Now a lot of you guys are like, "I'm so happy I stayed in the stock market." Guess what? Guess what silver did? Silver went up almost 3 times what the stock market did today. Hello. All right. So if you look at last year, silver's up well over 100%. The stock market was up, you know, not even double digits, right? So, you've been talking about going into silver. It's past time, right? But it's not too late. I still think that silver is going to go up massively and soon. Almost breached $80 today, and once it breaches $80, maybe there's a little bit of pullback. That's the way silver works, right? So, and then maybe it takes off. Maybe it just keeps going and going and going like it did when it went over $100, right? So $100, we're going to look back at $100 and go, boy, that was cheap. Now, I've been jumping up and down. This is time to get into silver. I've been loading up on silver at this price. And I remember jumping up and down with Dr. Kirk Elliott back when it was 17, all right? So, wow. Probably within another month or two, we're probably going to see 10x from $17, right? And that's just the beginning. So we're going to go up another probably 4 or 5 times, and then it'll be time to move over to gold. But you can stay in silver if you want to. Probably go up to, I don't know, $500,000 at some point. But that's further down the road. It's up to you guys. All right.
And many ships are heading to our country right now as we speak to load up with the best. Really, I guess you could say, somebody said the best and sweetest. I don't know exactly what sweet is, but when it relates to oil, it's a good thing. But they're coming to our country right now. There are many boats coming to our country. Now, it could very well be this is going to be settled before then. We've been called this morning by the right people, the appropriate people, and they want to work a deal.
All right. So this would be why some of these countries are going to start to flip to the U.S. side. It's because they see there's going to be protection by the U.S. against the City of London controllers, the Pilgrim Society, and so forth. We're going to see things start to flip towards the United States, and of course other countries are going to take up this banner as well and flip the deep state out, right? And at that point, the deep state is going to get super desperate and maybe do their, because I had Juan on, I asked him, is it time for Project Bluebeam? Because they're, disclosing all this stuff. And he said, not yet, right? So it's somewhere down the road.
They would like to work a deal.
A deal would be good, right? They want to work a deal. They're getting desperate to work a deal because they have to work a deal because guess what? We've just figured out.
All right. So this is Trish Reagan. I've been saying that she's on the right side of this. When she was at Fox, she was always great reporter. They pushed her into the late night so people couldn't see her. And then eventually they kicked her out, right? Just like Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly is just corrupt. She's showing herself. She showed herself at Fox. Remember when she did that interview with Trump and she attacked him, and he's like, Megyn Kelly. She's like, there's blood coming out everywhere. Like, what? So the intel that Trump has is pretty substantial. So whatever that was. All right. So and then she went to CNN and they kicked her out, and then she started her own show, and a lot of us supported her because okay, you finally are you seeing the light now? It sounds like because she had problems with COVID, because a lot of those knuckleheads promoted COVID. So we're like, okay, she sees the way now, and now we see that she was just another infiltrator, the Pilgrim Society, right? We have to get rid of these people, guys. We have to stop following them, right? We have to shun them, stop following them.
Completely shut off their entire economy. The Iranian economy is entirely dependent on its oil exports. And sure, it's actually gone kind of well for the last 6 weeks because the price of oil has gone up. And basically, all of that oil has been going to China. And now China can't get its oil. So it's not too happy either. So it's putting pressure on Iran. I mean, not quite like we are, but it's putting pressure as well. And so if all of the oil is stopped leaving Iran and its ports, then it's got nothing. I mean, I think one of the reasons the president hesitated to do that was because he knew that it would affect overall prices, right? When you take off 20% of the world's supply, which is what the Strait of Hormuz is actually accounting for. We don't need the oil. We have plenty of oil here, of course. But when you take 20% of the world's supply off, what happens to the price of oil? It goes up. And so he didn't want the price of oil to go way up all of a sudden because, well, that's bad for everyone. Don't forget, it's a commodity. So even though we have plenty of it here, when you take off 20% of the world's supply, yeah, it's going to go up. So Iran actually benefited from that. Think about that. Because the oil prices were going up. They were still shipping their oil. They were getting their ships out going to China. And now the president said, yep, that's not going to happen anymore. We're not going to allow for that anymore at all. And so we're shutting it down, and we're going in, and all of your little Iranian ports, including Karg Island, are getting shut down. You're not going to get 1 ounce of oil out of that country as long as we have anything to say about it. And hey, Europe, it would be nice if you would step up to the plate too. And this is him over the weekend. He's demanding NATO send warships to take on Iran or lose.
All right. So demanding that NATO get involved. So NATO, he's been demanding that for a while now. And NATO is showing its true colors, right? And some countries like Spain and Italy are not only, not getting involved, but they're going the opposite direction and actually restricting the U.S. from using bases in their countries. It's incredible. So we're going to move our bases out of those countries.
Support for good because he wants them involved. Period. Full stop. And this is why the UK is figuring out it doesn't really have a choice here. It wants to salvage the relationship it has. It knows that it needs the US.
The UK, the city of London, the controllers of the world for hundreds of years, right? It doesn't have a choice anymore, right? They're being squeezed finally for the first time since they have been controlling the world for hundreds of years.
As for NATO, but there are other actors that are a little bit more like petulant children, like Spain, that don't want to step up to the plate. But then again, they never do, right? Spain, I mean, they were told last year, you're going to have to contribute like 5% of GDP to NATO. And they're like, are you kidding? They have no interest in it. So we shouldn't be surprised.
So 5%, contribute 5%. U.S. has been, for the longest time doing 99% of the funding for friggin' NATO, guys. We, the taxpayers. This is going to stop.
But then again, why should we be spending hundreds of millions of dollars on those bases if we can't even use them? I mean, literally, we can't even use them. We tried to. We wanted to. And they wouldn't. And France, think about France not even allowing us use of their airspace. France is going to have to come around too. I think Spain, however, is rolling the dice in a bigger way than it should. Listen to the president again.
Is it your anticipation, Mr. President, that other countries will assist in this effort to blockade Iran and those?
Yeah, other countries are going to also.
Which countries, sir?
We don't need other countries, frankly, but they've offered the services. We'll let it be known probably tomorrow.
Has the blockade started, sir?
Yeah, started 10 o'clock.
It started all right. It's going pretty well. All right. Iran's not getting anything through. We've actually seen a number of, I think the number is, I'll get this for you, it's around 34 ships that just went through over the weekend. They're getting through. And the president's saying, hey, we're going to announce who is joining this coalition tomorrow. I can tell you, my source is telling me, and again, my on-the-ground reporting indicating that Spain is not going to be one of them. They've actually become the most resistant NATO member. And as a result of this, we're looking at closing a couple of bases, Rota and Moron. Okay, so these are the two big bases. We've talked about these a little bit on the show before. I spent some time over the weekend, as I said, in Spain, and I can tell you, I mean, here's just, you're looking out here at the Mediterranean. If you're watching this video right now, you can see this is the Mediterranean.
All right. So what is Spain said? And they have said this for several weeks now. White House tells Spain U.S. military does not need your help. It does not need you, all right, at all, really. And that's what we're going to see going forward. In fact, to the point where, hey, let's stop sending hundreds of $millions to this this POS country that doesn't want to help us. The U.S. does not need help from Spain or anyone else after the government of Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez closed off Spanish airspace to U.S. aircraft involved in Operation Epic Fury. Epic Fury. So you heard, and by this point, that the U.S. does not need the Middle Eastern oil at all. In fact, we're the exporters of the world now. And so why are we doing this? Really to squeeze out the City of London and the evil ones that are controlling finances and so forth, and this is going to squeeze them out of existence. But these guys are trying to play games where they think they're going to influence us and manipulate us into going, oh, we're wrong, we're sorry, we're not going to use your base because we shouldn't be doing this, and we're just going to stop the bombing and open the Strait of Hormuz up so that they can build their nuclear bomb, and threaten everybody. All you European idiots, right, will be under their control. And that's what the deep state wants, the Pilgrim Society. United States military is meeting or surpassing all of its goals under Operation Epic Fury and does not need help from Spain or anyone else. On Monday, Spanish government officials confirmed it closed off its airspace to U.S. aircraft. These clowns need the Middle East oil. They need it. And I think it's very apropos that President Trump is cutting it off from them, right? Because there's no way they have enough reserves. And they're probably going to have to limp their ships, their cargo ships, their tankers over to across the Atlantic into the Gulf of America, and get some of that sweet West Texas WTI, West Texas Intermediate oil, right? On Monday, Spanish government officials confirmed it closed off airspace involving the ongoing military operations against Iran's Islamic regime, barring U.S. planes from utilizing the Spanish bases in Rota, Cadiz, and Morón de la Frontera, all right, Seville, while at the same time prohibiting U.S. aircraft stationed in third countries from passing through Spanish airspace. All right. So if I were to go any, meeny, miny, mo, I would say Spain, you're going to lose your bases. All right. Because obviously there's no reason for us to be there, guys. And imagine all that money we'll save by, closing those bases down. Yeah, we probably pumped billions of dollars into those bases. I've flown into the bases in Spain. They're awesome. People are awesome. Food's awesome. The beaches are awesome. But, there's other beaches, right? And there's other awesome places. So obviously Spain is no mas, right? No mas. So let's get out of there. Let's get out of there. Let's get out of there now. And the sooner the better. All right. So who else? Italy has barred the U.S. of its air bases by U.S. military aircraft involved in operations against Iran, requiring prior authorization for such actions. Again, these are air bases that we have built over time. Sigonella in Sicily. They won't let us use that base. Major base that's Italy is like a hop, skip, and a jump. Really just a hop over to the Middle East to carry out missions. That would save a lot of fuel, wouldn't it? And it would save a lot of time that the pilots have to be, flying those aircraft so they get some more crew rest, because they got to get their crew rest. Boy, those spoiled pilots. I remember being in Panama during the Panama invasion. We're sleeping under lights on 24/7 in this big hangar on cots next to each other. Boy, it was tough to get some sleep. And they had like a blackout, quiet, had air conditioning. We were like in a hot, jungle, but the pilots had to get their crew rest. God love them. They're great. Love the pilots. So I'm not going to beat them up too much, but I could tell you stories of how they've kind of screwed us over on some stuff because they had to get their crew rest, right? Real world stuff where they thought it was just a training event. So they're up, we're going to shut down. We're going to do crew rest. It was like, and then they didn't even get spanked. They just got talked to. It's like, geez, if we'd done something like that, we'd have been hammered, right? So pretty funny, kind of and kind of not. But anyway, those pilots, it would save them a lot of time in the air because, again, they need their crew rest. And they got to get it, really. I mean, they're flying, $100 million aircraft or more. Some of them are flying $500 million aircraft with all the technology that's on it. And they have a lot of people depend on them. So yeah, let's give them their crew rest. Right. So Italy is gone bad. Right. Italy, we need to pull our bases out of Italy too, guys. Right. So Donald Trump hits Meloni with the Iran nuclear warning. Blow Italy up in minutes, he says. Donald Trump has issued a stark reply to Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni over Iran's nuclear capabilities after she criticized his comments about Pope Leo. Yeah, you don't criticize the master, right? 5D chess, you're losing. You're going to lose bad. Donald Trump has hit back after he was criticized for attacking Pope Leo. Giorgia Meloni, Prime Minister of Italy, described Trump's tirade against the Pope as unacceptable. Now the U.S. president has said it is she who is unacceptable. Right? And an interview with, I'm not even going to try Sierra, Trump also said he was shocked by the Italian Prime Minister comments. He went on to issue a stark warning over Iran's nuclear capabilities. It says it is she. So I got this window that's covering up this friggin', there we go, advertisement. So now I just moved. It is she who is unacceptable because she doesn't care if Iran has a nuclear weapon and would blow up Italy in 2 minutes if it had the chance, he said. Trump greets Meloni Meloni at the White House in April 2025. And then he talked about how she is no longer the same person. And Italy will not be the same country. What's the code in that one? No longer the same person? You mean she was replaced or something? And Italy will not be the same country. Is it going to be transformed from a deep state puppet to something else? We'll see. Trump added that he had not had contact with Meloni for a long time. Trump and Meloni have previously been close political allies. So maybe she was replaced. Pope Leo is weak on crime and terrible for foreign policy, the president wrote in his Truth Social post about the Pope, adding, I don't want a Pope who thinks it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. I agree. What kind of Pope is that? A compromised one. Trump refused to apologize to Pope Leo on Monday and sought to explain away a now deleted social media post depicting himself as Jesus by saying he had thought the image was of him as a doctor. Right? Let's look at that. I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool looking. It's funny, and it's kind of cool actually, because he's helping a military. Looks like maybe this military guy is passing over, and President Trump is there for him, and there he goes up into the heavens, and then everybody's like, oh. So he thought he was a healer here, or at least that's his words. But President Trump he pushes buttons. He pushes buttons, guys. We know that, right? So don't get all butthurt if he's pushing a button that you don't agree with. Is part of a process, part of a bigger process of taking down a very, very evil and corrupt system. All right. So now let's look at the political realm. If we haven't looked at it enough overseas, let's look at it here in America, right? In America, we're seeing I believe, the start, which will begin to accelerate the collapse of the deep state politicians, right? A federal judge has officially approved a class action lawsuit against Nancy Pelosi. Over 500 J6 patriots are now united, sounds like class action lawsuit, seeking $350 million in damages for what they claim was a coordinated setup. According to the lawsuit, Pelosi orchestrated the entire event, luring peaceful protesters into the Capitol, then labeling them violent insurrectionists to push a narrative. If she's found guilty or liable, it could bankrupt her, right? How many millions? I think she's got about that many millions. So why not? Let's go ahead and bankrupt her. She stole that money from us anyway. This is no longer conspiracy theory. This is exposure. Isn't that interesting? She stole that money from us and we may get it back. Wow. This is the unraveling. Stay tuned. The storm is far from over. Now, I've been seeing a lot of these posts. We're just getting started here. Holy crap. Judge James Boasberg just got slapped down by the U.S. Appeals Court. Boasberg is hereby banned from trying to hold Trump officials in contempt after they deported illegal aliens under the Alien Enemies Act. He lost. All right, so going on to Fauci, the FBI has reportedly quietly executed a search warrant of the home of Dr. Anthony Fauci, as well as several research labs for communicable diseases that are owned by Fauci's organization. They're said to be looking for evidence of the origins of COVID-19 and Fauci's involvement in it, as well as investigating a massive bribery, fraud, and money laundering scheme related to the COVID vaccine. The walls are closing in on America's own Dr. Death, and the hammer of justice is about to finally come raining down on him. No one is above the law. Crimes against humanity will not go unpunished, right? So things are moving in the right direction, I believe. Now, this is very sad right here. All right. watch this illegal alien. This was put out by President Trump. An illegal alien criminal from Haiti who was released into our country by the worst president in history, of course, Crooked Joe Biden, and the radical Democrats in Congress, just beat an innocent woman to death with a hammer at a gas station in Florida. The video of her brutal slaying is one of the most vicious things you will ever see. This animal was allowed to stay here because the Biden administration granted him and all Haitians temporary protective status. So basically, these guys aren't voting. Professor David Clements was on my show yesterday. I highly recommend you watch that. He talked about the money issue as well, how this is all about money. And he also said that these illegal aliens aren't voting. When they come in, they get their information and they do mail-in ballots with their information. So this is how they're controlling, America. So that's why they want these illegal aliens that are violent criminals to stay, because they want that vote. All right. Now watch this. This is pretty horrific, or maybe not. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to just turn away at this point. All right. That's a hammer he just used on her. And now watch. So you see, he's in his hand is a hammer. She's pretty much dead, and she's still going. Right. So this is what we have here. Now, my take on this is, what the absolute F. Mama Bears, it's time to get fired up. Grassroots firestorm time. Let's go. Because we know the Mama Bears make this happen. All right. So very frustrating. We've been talking about this for a long time. From the beginning, you can see basically when President Trump was in office, the number of people coming across the border was almost zero. And then when Biden came in, it blew up. It went to the moon, right? Very, very tragic time for America. And there's still a lot of work to get those people out of our country, right? And we have to check the voting rolls, guys. Have to be completely gone over. And that's because they've taken these illegal aliens and put them in the voter rolls, right? They don't even need and won't, for the most part, even show up for voting. They'll use the illegal ballots, right? And or mail-in ballots, or once the voting's done, they'll use the Dominion electronic voting machines, and they'll assert them that way, right? So Professor David Clements was talking about that in our show yesterday as well. It happened in Texas, and I think in North Carolina, and I think one other state, where they've already found that they came in and manipulated the voting, right? So it's happening, still happening, even in the the pre-election stuff, right? So where we figure out who is eligible to advance. They have the evidence again, just like they have the evidence for the 2020 election still, and even 2024 election still in a lot of states. I think California elected a lot of congressional leaders, Republican, and like the next day, they had won, and then the next day they're like, oh look, we found all these mail-in ballots, probably filled with illegal alien registrations, and they overwhelmed those Republican votes, just like they did with President Trump when we all went to bed in 2020, him basically having won, and then we woke up and he was losing in multiple states, right? What's that, Trace?
They said the children were nestled all snug in their beds.
The children were nestled all snug in their beds, and it wasn't Santa Claus that came down. It was like the Grinch, right?
Stole it all.
And stole it all, right? Very, very tragic. Now, let's go into Swalwell, been talking about him for a long time. You know, he was on the intelligence committee, and they found him having had an affair with a Chinese spy, Fang Fang, and nothing ever happened. Democrats are so evil and corrupt. It's unbelievable. So they knew that he was doing bad stuff. And now we're seeing, you know, I think that when they find out that, you know, well, they already found out that he's done some very horrific things with women. And this is after he was like, you know, all high on a pedestal, like, you know, saying that women need to be protected. And here he is, one of the worst ones, if not the worst. I don't know. We'll see going forward. So I think because what they're passing is, and let me pull this up so you guys can see. So all of this stuff will make more sense why you're going to probably see a lot of people resigning going forward. All right. So it just kind of came to me as like, why would he resign? You know, it doesn't make sense. Why wouldn't he, like they normally do, just fight all the way to the end till it's obvious that he committed the crimes? The U.S. Congress is considering the Congressional Pension Accountability Act, which would eliminate pension benefits for members of Congress expelled due to misconduct. The legislation aims to ensure that those expelled, I think that they should go back in time. All right. So these two knuckleheads that are getting out, that are like bailing right now, if they find out that they had committed these crimes while they're in office, they should get their pensions cut. What do you guys think? Yeah, I know. Yeah, we all think that they should get them cut, right? It should be retroactive. Or Tracy's like something else. Yeah, I agree with Tracy, or something else. I don't know. What would be something else?
They can't reproduce.
Snip, snip, Tracy says. Right, so there you go. All right, mama bears, let's go. All right, so, oh my God, this will have you choking up. This is not good. So let's listen to this one.
She's speaking now in California, Beverly Hills. Let's watch.
In 2018, while I was living and working as a model in Beverly Hills, and I also owned a fashion software company, I had contact with Eric Swalwell on 3 separate occasions after meeting him socially. He offered me connections to further my software company. And I also had an interest in local politics. He invited me to 2 public events. I knew he was married at the time and that his wife was pregnant. He was my friend. On the 3rd occasion, I believe he drugged my drink. I only had 1 glass of wine. We were supposed to go to a political event, and he said he needed to get paperwork from his hotel room. When I arrived at his hotel room, I was already incapacitated and I couldn't move my arms or my body.
All right, so this is very sad. When I was security manager in casinos, a couple of casinos here in Lake Tahoe, we had, I remember this had happened on several occasions, but one in particular really stands out in my mind, where we saw this one guy. So we would help people, men and women, that were obviously very intoxicated. We'd help them. Security would escort them to their rooms, or get them a cab or something like that. That's part of what we did. Of course, the whole time we have security cameras on the whole situation. So we were informed that there was some suspicious activity in one of the bars, and so we security went there. I went there as well, because when we would get a notification like that from our eyes in the sky, the guys that are basically monitoring the whole casino, which is really good. That's one of the reasons why you want to go to a casino. We would recover stolen items and all kinds of crazy stuff. So the guys that are on the surveillance do a really good job in the casino. So hats off to them. But they called and they said there was something suspicious, and that keyed me up. So I went immediately to this bar, and I saw this guy escorting this woman out that was obviously very intoxicated, and her friends were like following, and they were kind of, seemed like they were, at first when I saw them, it's like, okay, they're all escorting her out, and so we're like watching the situation. And then one of her friends finally came up to one of us and said, "That's not her boyfriend. He was taking her to his room." And we're like, hey, and then we intervene. It's not a crime. We couldn't prove that he'd Mickey'd her drink, but at least we got her away from him and got her to her friends, and her friends got her out of there. But this happens, guys, a lot. And for this guy, this political jackass that did this, it should, like my wife Tracy said, snip, snip, right? Snip, snip. All right. So now we've got incredible, problems in the political realm. I'm bringing up Virginia Abigail Spanberger as one that's a massive problem in the political realm. She's the governor of Virginia, and she's going back on all the stuff that she said she would never do. One of the things that she just signed into law was a bill to circumvent the Electoral College and have Virginia become a member of a compact between states that are looking to give their Electoral College votes to the presidential candidate that wins the popular vote instead of the candidate that voters from the state choose. Now, this is the enemy within, guys. Abigail Spanberger is the enemy within, and she's in the seat of the governorship of Virginia, right? Most Virginians are in an outrage about this, and she's done several other things. They are talking about redistricting Virginia. That would be very much like California. There would be no more Republicans or GOP. All right, they're just going to push them all out. So there's a big outrage about that. Is the worst of any state at this point, and I think that we're seeing the states that are real problems, and I think there will be, instead of like President Trump doing an executive order that goes into each state, I think it will just be specific states where the military will have to go in and take charge, guys. All right. So Virginia was probably going to be one of those at this point. New York, Illinois, the left coast. All right. All those states. So we're not going to see every state, of course. We have states that do the right thing, constitutional law and good, stuff. Utah's another problem. Hawaii's another problem. Their governors, pretty much in Utah, I don't think the governor was even elected, right? So there's, and in Hawaii, he assumed office before the votes were even counted, right? So there's real problems in our states. The military will absolutely have to go into some of these states, just like we saw during the Civil War, where Abraham Lincoln, with the writ of habeas corpus, he had to suspend it because there were states that were violating it, and like David talked about yesterday with me, it's one of those things that President Lincoln said, well, all the states are totally illegal and everything they're doing, in regards to slavery and all kind of other stuff. I have to go this route to like overwhelm them. So this is what we're seeing with Trump, I think. And a lot of these things where, some people are saying he's, outside of his bounds and all kind of crazy stuff. He's going to have to go outside of his bounds, right? Outside of the normal bounds to take down this extreme, illegal activity that's going on in America. That woman that's in the governorship in Virginia, she is wicked. She's a wicked witch beyond belief, guys. All right. So this is something that is overcoming the U.S. Constitution, states' rights, and so forth. There will be some kind of pushback, I think, by the military. So we'll see how this goes going forward. David Clement said also that we're going to military tribunals. He thought that we're very close. And if you saw all those people that I just brought up, all those political people, boy, it seems like it's really starting to get hot out there, doesn't it? Right? And David Clement said, once Trump gets control of the monetary, like we're seeing right now with the Pilgrim Society, the City of London, and of course the city, the Vatican City, and then the Washington D.C. Right? He's got control of Washington D.C. And now he's pushing back on those other two city states. Right? He wants to take them down, and he's going to. Right? We're moving that direction, and so all of these. Once Montana signs on, Alberta will provide as well. That's good. Yeah. Montana right there with Alberta. God, that would be so good. So good. I hope that happens. And then Saskatchewan will probably be next. And we'll probably see some other ones. I hope the Victoria, I think that's on the left coast, which is kind of leftist. I hope they go too. And to the good side, but there's a lot of liberals there, so I don't know. But that's a very, very beautiful area. I like all of Canada, right? So hopefully we'll see that. And Trump has teased that, Canada is part of the U.S. already. So maybe there's some kind of legal action that's going to happen. Who knows? We'll see. Again, it's the money. System is under control, and the use of money to buy and control people and so forth. We're going to see it, go the other way. Now, the money system also was part of, Epstein and P. Diddy and all these other criminals that were doing, manipulating people, children, women, whatever, men as well, and using them for sexual purposes. And then getting dirt on, politicians and business leaders and so forth, and then using that against them. We're flipping that against them now, right? So that's what you just saw with Swalwell and Gonzalez. We're going to see a lot more. We're going to see a lot more because Epstein files, once they got released, once the Democrats demanded they get released, it's like, okay, you want them released? Okay, now it's going to get used against you, all right? It's perfect. It's perfect. All right. So Swalwell Gonzalez announced resignations in wake of allegations, shaking up Congress. So it's not like it's, we get Swalwell's gone. So now we have an extra, Republican. No, we got Gonzalez, who's a corrupt, GOP guy. He's gone too. So this is just to show everybody it's not about a political party. It's about politics in general, right? The uniparty. It's all got to go, all of it, right? And we've been talking about that for a while too. I think that the whole political system is corrupt to a great extent. There's a few people in there that are not, but they're few and far between. All right, shaking up Congress. So here's that woman that you just saw. She's basically blowing it open, and I think her name is Lana Drewis. Emotional statement at Tuesday Beverly Hills news conference. Aligned, Eric Swalwell drugged her drink, choked, and raped her. So it goes deeper, right? So if you want to watch that video, she talks about how she was choked unconscious, I think, and then raped. So I guess he pushed the effects of the whatever intoxicant that he put on her, and that basically made it go to her brain. I don't know how that stuff works, but that maybe that's how they get it to activate even deeper. And so then now she's passed out, and he has her way with her. And there's many others. There's another 3 that have come forward, and they're in another conference call that I saw as well. So yeah, they should clip him, right? And sorry about the wife that's married to him, and I guess he's got children too. Jeez, that's wow. All right, so California, they're already talking about it. California holds special election in August to replace Swalwell. Boy, they didn't waste any time with that one, did they? Right? They want to get their puppet in there as fast as they can. All right, so I don't know. Maybe they shouldn't be replaced. So this is Dr. Steve Turley. He's in agreement with me, and I'm in agreement with him that this is just the beginning.
He was on the House Intelligence Committee. He was one of the loudest, most sanctimonious voices in the Democrat Party, calling for accountability from everyone else. And this week, it all came crashing down.
This is so typical of the Democrat Party, calling racism, calling Nazism on the political right when they are the ones that are the most egregious. And this is pretty much, the way communist takeovers happen. They just use, what they do, and they dime out the other side and scream and yell when they're the ones that are doing it.
Repulsive Eric Swalwell is officially gone, resigned from the United States Congress in total disgrace. But as it turns out, to the horror of congressional Democrats, Swalwell is just the beginning. Because what's been quietly building behind the scenes is a scandal wave so large, so wide, that it's even now threatening to reshape the entire House of Representatives. He was committing.
What are the chances that 3 or 4 women independently who never met each other would have similar experiences with one person? So either Ari.
So this is high and mighty right here. What are the chances that 3 or 4 women? So what are the chances that 3 or 4 women would, come out against you, Swalwell? Well, they're here.
This person committed these horrific acts, or he is the single unluckiest person in the world for these people to conspire and make up lies against him. But it's a very hard case to make, the more allegations that come in.
And even the counter example.
216. I was the 216th person to sign the Epstein petition to release all of the files and finally bring justice for these victims. So we're just 2 away. 2 more members sign it, and we are on our road to justice. I was proud to do it as a former prosecutor, as somebody who has spent my time in Congress working to stand up for the rights of victims. And now I'm calling on my Republican colleagues. It's not about red tape.
Yeah, so look at this high and mighty POS, right? After he drugged that poor woman. Unbelievable, guys. And there's 3 more. Who knows how many total there are? I would say there's probably a significant amount.
Versus blue team, this is about sexual assault victims who deserve justice. Do the right thing. Go sign that petition. To me, if you're going to run around our state masked and not showing yourself, not showing ID, and terrorize women, then you should not have a driver license. The governor has the power to grant driver's license in any state, and I call it reveal to wheel. If you're going...
All right. So this clown town should have his license revoked, right? He should not be able to drive around. And who's going to drive him around once it gets revoked? Probably it won't get revoked because California is corrupt. California is corrupt. They allowed this to happen for years and years.
To go into our communities in a way that no other law enforcement agency does, masked, and as I said, as a terrorizing bandit that women are afraid of, then the governor should revoke your driver license and really go on offense and restrict your ability to harm people.
So there you have it. It looks like Swalwell will himself be having to call Uber from now on, given that his...
Yeah, what do you guys think? Is that going to happen? Think California's going to do that? I don't know. I don't think so. All right. California is not the state you want to be, like the Beverly Hillbillies, right? California is a place you want to be, you ought to be. So they loaded up the truck and they moved to Beverly Hills, that is, swimming pools and movie stars. All right, so no more. No mas. Everybody's leaving California now. Well, not everybody. Some of you are staying there. God help you, right? God help you. And so this is one of the things that we're trying to overcome, this corruption. It is an extremely corrupt state. It's so corrupt that they're exposing the fraud, and the lawmakers want to pass a bill that no one can come in and expose them for doing fraud. Literally, they're trying to pass that bill. Unbelievable, right? So God help you guys in California. God, you're going to need it. All right, so here is, I'm going to show you guys real quick what's going on with this beautiful silver price, right? So silver futures are rocking and rolling again. Right now, you see silver is at 79.63. Right, so I think it's gonna push up into 80 very soon, maybe this week, 80, 85. We will see. All right, Bitcoin is dancing higher. All of the Magnificent Seven, except for Apple today, up much higher. Meta is like exploding higher because they're coming out with a new AI type of software or something. And NASDAQ was a big winner today. S&P was a big winner, up 2.2. NASDAQ up 1.8, which again is a lot less than what silver's up today. So because silver trading started again, you can't see it, but it was up well over 5% today, right? So, moving in the right direction. You're going to do well if you're in silver. You probably do well if you're still in crypto and the stock market. I've been saying we're going to see an all-time high. Now, on the other side of this, just like we saw in 2008, 2009 Great Recession, we saw housing prices collapsing, and that's what's happening. Rents, housing prices are collapsing. Some places 50% already, and almost everywhere, everything's coming down. Here in Incline Village, where I'm at, I'm watching prices come down. Not coming down fast enough for me, but they're coming down. It's going to happen. If you're in silver, you're going to make a mint in silver, and you're going to be able to take that mint and buy lots of homes, right, with cash, right? So, or maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you'll put in some other stuff. I don't know. So it's up to you. All right, Schumann resonance a couple nights ago spiked massively, right? And the next day there were earthquakes, and we felt them here, right? The house was shaking, and we weren't making it shake. Earthquakes were making it shake. So I called out once I saw the, if you see that flower arrangement that's a little bit old now. So that flower arrangement was going, and I could see the ceiling doing this. And I got up out of my chair and I was like, Tracy, time to get out. And she was like, up. Before I could make it into the living room, she was already up from downstairs, and she was ready to go, and then it stopped. So that was a good thing. But it was pretty significant. We're seeing an uptick. We're seeing earthquake swarms like we saw yesterday in an area of Nevada, and I'm going to show you some of that. We're going to have some of the stuff on that is basically going to, we have to be aware of this stuff. Have to be heads up. I've been predicting this stuff is going to really kick in this year. Hopefully not, but it's better to be aware and ready than just blow it off and think that everything's going to just be fine, right? Schumann resonance, like you see here, that's incredible. So normally it's up around here. It spiked massively on the 13th or the 12th. I think it was the 12th. Yep, it's the 12th. And the next day, the 13th, which is yesterday, that's when we had the rock and roll, right? So definitely something we need to be aware of right now. Now, I'm going to show you a picture. Tracy took this before the earthquake, and we had a big snow here. We're making up for all of the snow that we didn't get. So we're getting, mid-March, because it can happen here. I've seen it, snow here in May. I've seen it snow here in June. But a good thing, we're getting much needed snow. And as you guys can see out the window, there's still a lot of it. So look at these icicles that Tracy took a video of. So this is on the second floor. Now, all of those ice, I have a picture of it, but I don't have it loaded. But all of those icicles, when it started shaking, they came rocking down, right? And splashed on the, I took a picture of it, but like I said, it's in my phone. I'm not going to put it up right here. Took too much time, right? We got to keep the show going. Ain't got time for this stuff. So anyway, all that stuff came rocking down, right? All those icicles were on the, the deck. So crazy times. You need to be heads up. Like I said, been saying this for all this year, and whether it happens or not remains to be seen. I saw some other videos that were out where these earthquakes happen, which is not too far away from us. This is like east of Reno, and we're west of Reno, and so I don't know, 70, maybe 70, 100 miles at the most away from us. And when we felt that, and it was like it calmed down, I got right on the USGS. It was listed initially at 5.5, and very rare do they up the intensity. I've been in a lot of earthquakes, just like, I've rocked and rolled in many of them, especially when I lived in San Diego for many years. The earthquakes, when they came, I went and saw it, and so I wanted to make sure it wasn't going to start to punch up, right? And they started to slowly go down. There was almost 50 of them. It was quite a swarm, and it was like it was pointing at us. And I think the energy, that's why we got it. And Truckee, which is even further away from us, got it. We're at about 8,000 feet where you see going out of the lake out there. The lake level is around 7. And it was pretty intense. It was a pretty intense shake. One of those shakes that, like I said, I've been in a lot of earthquakes. This was one where it's like, it's time to get out. It's time to get out of the house. Right. And I don't know if I've told you guys, but I saw a vision of this home shaking pretty substantially. Was that it? I don't know, but I hope that was it. But these are going to be times where you need to have a plan, and my plan is to try and get out to the garage and open the garage door before it gets locked from all the shaking and the power going out. And we have lots of stuff up there for survival, water and survival food and all that kind of stuff. So I just pile it in and just get out, right? Or get it away from, because this house is right alongside, it's on a mountainside, right? 3 levels. I'm sure the posts go deep, but just like I saw yesterday, this thing was shaking pretty good at the top here. So, and that was a long way away. So let's look at what Stefan Burns has to say. He's really on this stuff, and I like to go to him and see what his thoughts are. He thinks we might be moving into a more shaky environment.
Thankfully, it was not bigger. There is a big earthquake swarm that's now occurring as a result. So we see here in the map area, 44 earthquakes, and this is all just in the past 90 minutes, okay? So if you're watching this live stream on replay, we're covering this just within about an hour of this happening. So we had this magnitude 5.7, and then a lot of earthquakes popped off. We see that this 5.7 is the oldest earthquake in this sequence. 3.6 there, 3.3. If we look at the highest magnitude event.
All right, so you see how here is the 5.7 right here, and it just started going in this direction. I'm like, it's coming for us, but it didn't get any bigger. So the 5.7, then it went down in the 3s, and then 2s, and it started getting farther and farther apart. And I'm like, okay, we're good.
It's the 3.6, 3.4, 3.3 for the aftershocks. These are still coming in. Typically, you get an aftershock 1 magnitude less than the main shock for the strongest. So we could be looking at a mid-magnitude 4 earthquake within the next 2 hours.
All right, so you guys see out here, Juan de Fuca, there was another earthquake swarm like a couple days before. So we had this one, and then we had the one in Nevada. Now, what Stefan Burns is saying, if within the next day or so, it would be very concerning if we get a swarm in the Bay, San Francisco Bay, right? So that means we're getting bracketed for something much bigger, probably.
And this specifically is a transform plate boundary where you're having an active creation of oceanic crust here. And now it's not like we don't get these sort of earthquake swarms along these transform boundaries, these mid-ocean ridges, etc. But this one right here is the furthest south that earthquake activity has crept along this Juan de Fuca Pacific Plate boundary right in the zone since the 2020s. So this is the first time we've had earthquake activity in here for the 2020s, this specific zone right there. So that's notable. And you at first glance may think that they are unrelated. And they're not unrelated. At the most basic measure, they're connected together in time. And that may be all that it is, okay? It may just be that we're having a temporal clustering of seismicity for the continental United States and North American zone right here, right now, April 12th, April 13th, 2026. That could be it. But there are some geologic connections here. And you'd be surprised that there are connections between the Juan de Fuca Plate and Nevada. So we'll talk about that more. I'm not saying these are definitively linked in more ways than just temporally, but we will explore that idea. Is we see global seismic activity level. Let me turn myself off again. You see that we had this global seismic burst here to the live data tab. And this takes you to the Earth Analytics page where I have a variety of data feeds from different sources hosted. And so we see Schumann resonances, we see global seismic activity level. Let me turn myself off again. You see that we had this global seismic burst here back at the end of March, going through the very beginning of April. So it lasted about 2 weeks here. No, not even 2 weeks. It lasted about 10 days. And we very well may be going to into another global seismic burst soon because of space weather factors. So one thing that I look at for earthquake forecasting is, where is the activity right now? Violet light from the sun gets absorbed into the atmosphere of the Earth. So unless you're in space, you cannot see this. There's different ways of viewing the sun, sunspots and such on the surface, but you can specifically only see these angstrom views from space. Now, because we have these cameras in space, we are able to see more finely detailed structures and layers of the sun. Here we're looking at the solar corona. This is the outermost atmosphere of the sun. Many of you have heard me talk about this many times, so welcome back to class. But for those of you that are new, the sun has different layers. There is an outer layer. This is like the atmosphere of the sun, known as the corona. It's millions of degrees Kelvin. Kelvin is very similar to Celsius. So think millions of degrees Celsius, millions of degrees Fahrenheit, basically, right? Very, very hot. It's made up of plasma, the fourth state of matter. You have solids, liquids, gases, plasma. Well, what's that sequence? Solids are, all contained. The molecular structure is frozen, and there's a slight vibration to it, but not that much. Liquids, all of a sudden, these intermolecular or interatomic bonds, they can break, and now the things can move past each other. Think like water. H2O molecules are now moving past each other, only lightly bonded together via hydrogen bonds. That's special to water, some other compounds that have the dipoles to them. You heat that up some more, they can fly off from each other. Now you have gas molecules, and they basically repel each other, and they have less density and more energy. So you get this natural stratification of basically matter based off of its level of energy that it has. So solids are closer down, then you have liquids, then you have gases, and then you have plasma, because plasma takes a gas and ionizes it so much that it actually splits these molecules apart. So now you have particles flying around. So it's very, very energetic. We're looking at the outermost atmosphere of the sun, the corona, all these plasma particles, basically. Where it shows up black is where there is a deficiency in plasma. So there isn't any corona there. These are known as coronal holes. We see time and time again when there are large coronal holes on the Earth-facing side in the center to geo-effective position. So this zone right here, okay? When they are right there, we often see high magnitude earthquakes. There are a few ideas as to why.
All right. So that coronal hole is coming into Earth-centric relationship. And every time we get this, we usually have an uptick in earthquake activity. So that big coronal hole that's caused earthquakes in the past, so it rotates around, then we get a little break, and it comes back again, and then we get a significant uptick in earthquakes. We're already getting an uptick in earthquakes. So now we're going to get hit with this coronal hole, and there's a very great possibility that the juice from that is really going to make things get funky, right? So just be heads up. We just saw some serious activity here. I've been living on and off in this area for a long time, and I've never seen any earthquakes of that magnitude here. So like I've said, things are going to start to uptick this year, right? So there's lots of things that are going on to cause that. Consciousness is actually a factor in this. The alignment of the planets, the planetary alignments are also having a factor with this probable coming uptick in earthquake activity. So, and it's not going to be, I think, focused just in the Pacific Northwest. I think it's going to hit a lot of places throughout the world. So be heads up wherever you're at. I think the earthquake activity, volcanic activity, and unfortunately tsunami activity really gets a big uptick this year and into next year. I think it's going to get even more intense. All right, guys. You know the deal. Stay in love vibration. That gives you the intuition, insights, and so forth that you're going to need to get through earth changes, this collapse of the system. All things are probably going to collapse and go to something much greater. So will it be an easy transition? I don't think so. Right. So, we're looking at the way things have progressed in the past. People that are psychopaths like to hold on to their power, and they don't care who gets affected and how badly they're affected as they try and hold on to that power. We've seen this throughout time, right? Thousands of years. Okay, lots of love. Stay in the love vibration, and we'll see you guys next time.